Hey everyone, what's up? Seriously, stop scrolling for just a second. I know you've got a million things vying for your attention right now, but I promise you, if you give me just 4 minutes of your time, I'm going to share something that could genuinely change the way you think about, well, everything. No hyperbole, no clickbait, just a raw, honest conversation between friends. You ever feel like you're constantly playing catch up? Like everyone else around you just seems to get it a little faster, a little clearer. Maybe you've been in a meeting and someone articulates an idea so perfectly, so succinctly, that you think, why didn't I think of that? Or you see someone just effortlessly navigating a complex problem while you're still trying to figure out where to even start. Yeah, I've been there. We've all been there. And for the longest time, I thought it was just some innate talent, some secret sauce that I was missing. But what if I told you that outsmarting 90% of people isn't about being born a genius? It's not about having a higher IQ, or going to the fanciest schools, or even reading 1,000 books a year. It's about something far more accessible, something you can literally start practicing today. And it has to do with how you process information, how you make decisions, and how you approach problems. It's not a magic trick, but it feels pretty darn close once you start seeing the results. I used to think that being smart meant knowing all the answers. The more facts I could cram into my brain, the more impressive I'd be, right? Wrong. So wrong. What I eventually realized, through a lot of trial and error, and a fair share of face palms, I won't lie, is that true intelligence isn't about the quantity of information you possess, but the quality of your thinking. It's about developing a few key mental models, a sort of invisible toolkit that helps you cut through the noise and see things for what they really are. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to build a really complex Lego castle. If you just grab a bunch of random bricks and start sticking them together, you'll probably end up with a mess, or at best, something that's about to crumble. But if you have the right base plates, the right connecting pieces, and a clear understanding of how different structures interlock, you can build something incredible, something stable, and something that looks exactly how you envisioned it. That's what these mental models are. They're your base plates and connecting pieces for your thoughts. They give your thinking structure and stability. Now, I'm not talking about anything overly academic or theoretical here. This isn't a philosophy lecture. This is real-world, practical stuff that you can apply whether you're trying to decide which career path to take, how to solve a disagreement with a friend, or even just how to plan your week more effectively. It's about seeing patterns where others see chaos, understanding underlying causes rather than just symptoms, and making choices that consistently lead to better outcomes. So let me give you a glimpse of what I mean. One of the biggest mistakes people make, and honestly, I made it for years, is to jump to conclusions based on what's immediately obvious. We see a problem, and our brain immediately offers the quickest, most surface-level solution. But often, that's like trying to fix a leaky faucet by just wiping up the water on the floor. It looks like it's solved for a minute, but the real issue is still there, just out of sight, ready to cause more trouble. The first step to outsmarting this tendency is to develop what I like to call first principles thinking. Sounds fancy, right? It's not. It's actually incredibly simple and incredibly powerful. Imagine you're trying to understand how a car works. Most people would tell you about the engine, the wheels, the steering wheel. But if you apply first principles thinking, you break it down to its absolute fundamental truths. What is a car at its core? It's a mechanism for moving people or things from one place to another. What does that require? Energy. How is that energy generated and applied? What materials are absolutely essential? You strip away all the assumptions, all the conventional wisdom, and you get down to the bedrock facts. Why is this so powerful? Because when you understand the foundational elements of anything, you're no longer limited by existing solutions or conventional ways of doing things. You can innovate, you can solve problems from the ground up, and you can see opportunities that others completely miss, because they're stuck in the "that's just how it's always been done" mindset. Think about Elon Musk. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny his approach to problem solving. When he started SpaceX, people thought he was crazy. Space travel was expensive, complicated, and only for governments. But Musk didn't accept the existing cost structures. He didn't say, okay, a rocket costs X amount, so let's try to shave off 5%. Instead, he asked, what are the fundamental components of a rocket? What are the raw materials? How much do they actually cost? By breaking it down to first principles, he realized that the materials themselves were only a tiny fraction of the total cost. The huge expense came from the inefficient processes, the regulations, and the fact that nobody was trying to make them reusable. By questioning every assumption, he was able to revolutionize an entire industry. And you can do this too. It's not just for rocket scientists. Let's say you're trying to save money. Most people will immediately think, okay, I need to cut back on lats, maybe eat out less. Those are valid solutions, but they're surface level. First principles thinking would ask, what is money fundamentally? What is saving? What are the absolute essential expenses I have? What generates income? You start dissecting your entire financial life into its core components, questioning every single expense and income stream. You might discover that the real drain isn't your daily coffee, but on subscriptions you forgot about, or a higher interest rate on a loan than you realized. The beauty of this approach is that it forces you to think creatively, to challenge the status quo, and to build your understanding from the ground up. It's like being a detective, constantly asking why and what if, until you uncover the fundamental truths. And once you have those truths, you have an incredible advantage. You can then build better solutions, make more informed decisions, and see pathways forward that are invisible to those who are simply accepting things at face value. Now, this isn't the only mental model we're going to talk about, but it's a foundational one. It's the starting point for developing that sharper, more insightful way of thinking. And the best part, it doesn't require anything more than your willingness to pause, to question, and to dig a little deeper. So, how do you actually start practicing this? It's easier than you think. Next time you encounter a problem, big or small, don't immediately jump to the most obvious solution. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what are the absolute undeniable truths about this situation? What are the core components? If I stripped everything else away, what would remain? For example, let's say you're struggling with productivity. Instead of just trying another to-do list app, ask, what is productivity? What does it fundamentally mean to be productive? It's not about being busy, it's about achieving desired outcomes. What are the core elements required for me to achieve my desired outcomes? It might be focus, energy, clarity, or the right tools. You start breaking it down, and you'll often find that the real obstacle isn't what you initially thought. Maybe it's not the app, but a lack of sleep or unclear goals. This kind of thinking, this constant questioning of assumptions, is how you start to peel back the layers and see the world with a clarity that most people simply don't possess. And that, my friends, is how you start to outsmart 90% of people. Not by being smarter, but by thinking smarter. And this is just the beginning. We've got so much more to dive into, including another crucial mental model that works hand in hand with first principles, thinking to give you an even more powerful edge. So if you're ready to unlock even more of your thinking potential, stick around because we're just getting warmed up.